Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of Golf with Jen. Today's episode is going to be something very important if you really are interested in learning more course management to lower your scores. So this is something that I get asked a lot because a lot of you guys comment on my videos saying that the most important part and the most important takeaway from my videos are the course management tips. So I thought of something that should honestly be kind of common sense, but even I was never taught this as a kid growing up learning golf, and I was never taught this in my life. I honestly learned it through personal experience and just through playing golf for many years. So I thought that it's something that I should say to you guys and share to you guys because I have never seen anybody really talk about this. I have never been taught this, and I think that it is really important if you want to lower your scores. Before we continue with the video, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel for more Golf with Jen. So like I said before, today's video is going to be discussing something very important in terms of being able to be a better player in terms of course management, and of course in return that means lower scores. This is something that almost seems like common sense, but I've never seen anybody taught this, and I learned it through personal experience. So I feel like a lot of people think that it's common sense and that's why they don't really teach it. If you're lucky, maybe you had a coach that taught it to you, or maybe you learned it through experience yourself. What I'm talking about here is how do you choose the right club to be hitting into any green, any pin, and just making sure that the club you choose is actually going to produce the best possible result for you in that situation. So I think it's very common that people just think, okay, I'm going to shoot the pin, I have 150 yards, I'm just going to hit my shot that goes 150 yards. There's so many more factors that go into actually being able to decide what club is going to be the best club for every situation. So if you see PGA or LPGA pros playing, before they hit a shot, they're doing a lot of calculations in their yardage books. But what I see among amateurs is that a lot of amateurs just go there already having their club in hand. They don't really have a lot of things to think about, especially if it's a course that they play often. They basically just bring one or two clubs and they kind of already feel like they've decided what club they're going to hit. And there's actually a few factors that should play a role in your club selection. And the number one factor, which I think is the most important factor to be able to shoot lower scores, and I've talked about this on my channel before, it's knowing how far every single one of your club flies. If you do not know that, it is impossible for you to play good golf. No good golfer in the world does not know how far their ball flies because it is just something so important to know. And the second factor is knowing your environment. So knowing, maybe you don't have to know your altitude or your temperature or whatever, but kind of knowing the general sense of what the ball is going to do in the environment. So for instance, me playing in Malaysia, I know that the ball is just not going to roll out very much. We live in a very wet country. The ground is always wet, as you can see in my videos. So it's just not going to have a lot of rollout. That's just what you expect. If you play in the desert, obviously it's going to be different. If you're playing at a higher altitude, that affects it as well. But roughly knowing the conditions of your environment is going to be very important as well. So with those two factors in mind, we're going to get started, and I would encourage you guys to take a pen and a piece of paper so that you can draw your own scheme or even write down some notes, because this is honestly something very important, and I think that a lot of people ask me this all the time, but I've never thought that it's something that I would need to explain. And I'm not saying that in a demeaning way, but it's just something that I myself have never been taught. So I never ever really thought about thinking this to others. But this is just one of the most important parts of course management, which is being able to hit more greens. When you hit more greens, you have more birdie opportunities. Worst to worst, you're two putting for par. And worst to worst, if you three putt all the time, you know that all you have to do is fix your putting. If you're always missing greens, you're not even giving yourself an opportunity. So hitting greens is so important to shooting lower scores. So that is what we're trying to do here. So I encourage you guys to pause the video here, go get a pen and a piece of paper, and we're going to get started with today's video. So if you guys have already done that, here we're going to get started, and we're actually going to make today's example TPC-KL's East Course Hole 10. You guys have watched me play this hole so many times. If you want to see it on my video, go click on the video, look at how the hole looks like, just get a rough estimate of what it looks like, and then come back to this video. So we're going to start with hole 10, which is a par 4. It's 344 yards. As you can see here, it's a straightforward par 4. There is a water in front of the green, and it's pretty much just a uphill and a downhill par 4. Not really uphill and not really that downhill, but the fairways are pretty much downhill once you pass that first bunker on the right side. So 344 yards, not a very long hole. You might not even be hitting a driver. Our focus here is the second shot and the approach shot. So we're going to consider that we've already hit the fairway and we're going to draw the green. So the green, as you can see, you don't have to do this. I'm just doing this for you guys. There's a big bunker down the left side. Obviously, you have to carry a big water hazard in front. There's a bunker in front of the green on the right side. Today's pin position is going to be over that bunker. So for the sake, and also there's water behind the green. So for the sake of today's video, we're going to say we were on the fairway and I'm going to give us a distance such as 140 yards. We're going to assume to the pin it is 140 yards. So this is roughly what it's going to look like. This is the pin. There's a bunker, bunker, water, water. Pin is 140 yards. So most of you guys, I know a lot of people who go up to the ball, shoot the pin, end of story, I'm going to hit whatever goes 140 yards. What happens? First of all, bunker. Bunker comes into play. Because if they miss that shot and they didn't hit it very good, or maybe it's not even the right club and it wasn't going to carry the bunker in the first place, the bunker becomes a factor. So when the bunker becomes a factor, if you're not a good bunker player, immediate bogey. If you're someone that skulls it, you might go in the water behind you. Bad outcomes either way. Not on the green and you're in a hazard and you could be in two hazards. That is not what we want. The other option is 140 yards, they get scared of the bunker, hits it too hard, goes into the back water. So how often does something like this happen to you guys? So what do you need to think about when you see a pin like this and when the pin is 140 yards? I will kind of talk about what I will go through. First thing I would do, shoot how far it is to carry that bunker. For the sake of this video, we will say it is 130 yards to the edge of the bunker. And the next thing we're going to see is how far is it to the water. So for the sake of this video, we'll say it's 155 yards, okay? And to carry this water, we're going to say it's 110 yards. So these are the numbers that we have now. So after giving you that number, I would like you to actually pause the video again and think about this and think about what club you would hit. So if you guys have already done that, I know a lot of you guys comment saying how relatable my distances are, etc., etc. So if you answered that if we hit the same distance and you answered you're going to hit an 8-iron, then chances are you have the same club as I do. So there are several factors that I would say come into play. First thing you would have to think about, obviously, like I said, is how far it is to carry the bunker. The next thing that I would actually think about, that if you guys were not thinking about this, was on the fairway, like I said just now before when I was explaining the hole, the entire fairway goes downhill. So what it means is chances are, even though you're on the fairway, you're going to have a downslope. What happens when you hit on a downslope? The ball is going to fly a little bit lower than it normally does. So what happens when it flies a little bit lower? It doesn't fly as far. So whatever you hit, it cannot be something that carries 130 yards. Because if you miss it a little bit, you're going in the bunker. Even though if you hit a good shot, because you were on that downslope, it could not be long enough and it's in the bunker. Another thing that could happen is you hit something that's long enough to carry this bunker because you didn't want to be in that, but now because of the downslope, you hit too much, you fly 145, it releases into the water behind. So those are great examples of exactly what could happen about just now and what I said, how you could possibly go in the bunker and the water. So why would I choose an 8-iron? My 8-iron flies about 135. As I said, I don't really like to hit my irons very hard. So for me, when I hit on a downslope, I don't actually take that much of a divot because I'm not hitting it very hard. I'm not hitting it very far down or steep down. So because of that, I'm confident that I would carry it minimum of 132. So for me, I would obviously aim a little bit left, unless depending on the conditions, depending on the lies. If I'm downslope, okay, let's be honest. If I'm on a downslope, the pin's over here, chances I'm going to aim straight at the pin because I play a draw. So being able to carry that a minimum of 132, if I didn't hit it very well, no matter what, I would still carry this bunker. And what happens is when I carry this bunker, will my 8-iron be able to reach all the way to the backwater? No. It's impossible for my 8-iron, especially in the conditions that we're playing in, to fly here and go into this water. So no matter what, I know that I will definitely carry this bunker and I would definitely not go into the water. So those are things that I think you must think about. And you might be thinking, oh my god, Jen, if I think about this on every single shot, I'm going to be taking 5 hours to play 9 holes. That is really not true. Because think about it, how much time do you usually have when you're standing over the ball thinking about nothing? Most of the time, people go to the ball and they've already decided, I'm going to hit a 7 iron, when they haven't even considered all these factors. So choosing that club was very premature. It was not a good idea because they didn't actually think about what they needed to do. They basically just took a club based on the distance, already thinking about, okay, I need to hit on the green, I need to hit near the pin, but not thinking about what they actually need to do that. They're just thinking about the outcome. So in order to control your shot and have the best possible shot, what you need to be thinking about is all these things rather than, oh, okay, I'm going to hit 7 iron, and then go out there, stand over your ball and think, oh my god, there's water behind the screen. If I hit this bad, I'm going to go in the water, I'm going to go in the bunker. Those are all not constructive thoughts. Instead, you could be thinking, oh, I wonder how far it is to carry that bunker. It's 135. Okay, I need to hit at least 135. How far does this club go? This goes 135. Oh, I know that I'm going to hit at least carry the bunker. What this does is actually gives you confidence. So when you're confident and you trust your shot and you know that you have the right club, even if you hit a bad shot, you would know, well, at least I made the right club choice. And you hit the best shot in that situation. The best shot is not always going to be the shot with the best result. Everybody makes mistakes. On a bad day, yeah, you could still go in the bunker. Yeah, you could still go in the water. But then again, you already knew in your mind, you know what? I still took the right club. I just hit a bad shot. How often is it that you not only took the wrong club, but you also hit a bad shot? Or you took the wrong club and you hit a good shot, but ended up in a hazard. So these are all examples of things that can obviously contribute to higher score, which is what we're trying to avoid. So I think that doing this kind of exercise is very easy. Just take a scorecard. Just imagine, okay, if the pin was here, what club would I hit? Give yourself scenarios. Do it when you're in play. If you're not in lockdown, like I am, go to the golf course and think about this. Think about, okay, what do I actually need to play here? What should I play here? And obviously conditions, like I said, would make it different. If it's a very hard green, obviously you need to change versus if you have a very soft, wet green. So all these kind of things do come into play, but the most important thing is knowing how far you carry each of your club. Because if you know how far you carry each of your club, you know how far it is to all the hazards, you're never going to go in a hazard. A lot of golf is in between the ears, and you guys watching my video and getting something from it means that there's so much more that you guys can learn. And there's nothing bad from that. It's always good to learn. So always just think about everything, but also at the same time, once you've decided, commit to your shot, trust it, you've made the right choice for that situation. No matter what happens, you have the right club in your hand. I guarantee you, by thinking that way, no matter what, you're not only going to be hitting better shots, you're going to be hitting more greens, you're also going to be happier. Because guess what? One thing was right. You at least made the right decision. You hit a bad shot. That happens to all of us. It happens to Tiger Woods. It happens to whoever the #1 golfer in the world is at any time. All you can do is make sure that you control yourself by making the best decision in a given time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this helps you make better decisions, hit more greens, and shoot lower scores. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.